I was asked by my friends who were in punk bands to take photographs of their bands, and I was holding this digital Nikon, and like any nerd, I said, well, let me learn about what I'm doing. So I went to the photography section at the community college, and Frank's book jumped out right away. That title, that seminal image, the faces looking out, and right away I opened it and I saw Jack Kerouac. I was already, aspiring to be a poet, trying to find my way into the work, and Robert Frank's work was an open invitation. Both mediums seek to mythologize the world without narrative. What happens when you see a photograph, particularly a Frank photograph, is that you're asked to see beyond the frame that's not there. And I think particularly with Robert's work, there's a great allegiance to mystery. There's a spirit that Frank is after, which is why often people are blurry. He's more interested in where they're headed, where they have gone, than what they can present informationally. The curiosity Frank had without judgment was so informative to me as a young artist, particularly as a young writer, to look for surprise without condemnation and to say, well, what else is here? What else can the frame hold? I actually like Frank's later work, particularly in the 80s and 90s after the death of his children. You start to see a kind of deep existential question on whether photography is enough. He'll start to draw and write over his prints. At some point, taking an X-Acto knife and carving words onto the photograph. He starts to think of his work more sculpturally. For someone so accomplished in his medium, he has no dogmatic allegiance to photography as a medium. Sure, I have the camera, I can use it, but is the camera and its capacities enough to capture the visions? He kind of destroyed that hierarchy of what is high art and what is low art, and he flattened it to a more democratic plane. He reminds us that the established order of trends and what's popular and fortified through power can easily be unhinged and upended towards new visions. He didn't take the camera with a promise of a gallery behind him. He took the camera to punch holes into the world. Writing is an art of maybes. It's an art of great uncertainty. There's no luck in writing. I personally have never written a good sentence accidentally. And so I think to see that curiosity in Frank's frame, where he's shooting from, often from the hip, is a moment of doubt, but Frank's camera says yes. What's often not talked about in successful art making is daringness. If you don't throw the dice, there's no point of playing. You owe it to yourself to keep questioning whether what you're doing is truly enough. Because if you ask that enough times, eventually you'll find something startlingly so new that you'll be leading the way to a new era. And that's what Robert Frank did.